Hi, this is Daniela Wolf with Bestie Life, the podcast, and this is your community to support you through the little and not so little events that make up your day-to-day life. From the I've got this moments to the I just can't moments. We are here to empower all women to find and develop the skills they need to find peace, balance, and the bliss in their busy. Through solo episodes as well as interviews with amazing women who share their journey and their story and how it works for you. I hope you find the inspirations to make you laugh, think, as well as maybe rethink what you thought you knew, and connect as we realize that we are all living similar ups and downs and don't have to do it alone. So excited for you to hear this episode, and thanks so much for joining me today. Hi, this is Daniela with Bestie Life, the podcast. And today I am so excited, not only for me to have this conversation, but for you to get to meet Jen McNabb. She is a technology project manager by day, but she is pursuing her decades-long dream of cooking training project by night. And she is hoping to help others cross that gap from completely overwhelmed when it comes to cooking and really feeling more confident in seeing what they can throw together on a day-to-day basis for a delicious meal and kind of find that light bulb moment for everybody. And I told her I wasn't going to give too much of her story because it is such a fantastic journey and I can't wait for her to share with you. So thank you so much, Jen, for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, like just the things that you've been able to experience in your journey are just so exciting. I think we've all had some of the same moments that you've had where we're like, oh my gosh, I could do that. Oh my gosh, I want to. And you've achieved them. So can you share kind of what's brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think I have a unique journey, which you've alluded to. I didn't start out cooking. I grew up, my mom was experimental in the kitchen, but she never had a confidence in the kitchen that I would say rubbed off on me. So when I went on my own, I had two babies back to back, two sons, they're huge now. And we moved from California to Boston in the winter of 2001. I will never forget this because why would you do that? First of all, it was for my husband's job. I gave up my career to move cross country with these two babies, knew no one, had no family there. And it was a real low point in my life. In fact, I would say probably the lowest point in my life. I'm in my 50s now. When I look back, of course, you go through things and at the moment you don't think it is. You think, oh, I can get through this. That's fine. But I was pretty lonely. I mean, I'll admit my husband traveled. I didn't have friends. I didn't know anyone. And, that early 2000s era Food Network was just kind of coming around, right? Yeah. And it was all these shows like Rachel Ray and Alton Brown. And I remember there was a show called Food 911 with Tyler Florence. And I just started to absorb what they were telling me and teaching me, and not in a real conscious way, actually. And one night I was watching Rachel Ray. It was her 30-minute meal show. And I got that light bulb moment that you talked about. And it was like, wait a second, I can do that. and I don't know why. Like, it's so weird. It's like, how did I go from, oh my gosh, what am I going to cook for the family tonight? What am I going to do to, wait a second, I can do that. And I mean, it was like such a profound leap that I had never really had that before in anything. I'm also not a creative individual. So I think that's important to note. You said that I'm a technology project manager. I think that tells you everything. Pretty nerdy, pretty geeky. I can't sing, I can't draw, I can't write, but I found through cooking this creative expression I never knew I had. And I'm now at this point, I'm in my early 30s. So I had gone a long time before I really discovered that. And, and I talk to artists all the time. They've grown up creative, so that was kind of also an aha moment. So I just went into the kitchen and I started to say, okay, oh yeah, I did watch How to Dice an Onion. Okay, I'm going to do it how they told me. Oh my gosh, it works. Okay, now I'm going to try to do this cream sauce and do a roux. Holy cow, it's delicious. And it was just kind of that I almost felt like a child at that point, like,
Yeah.
like that discovery of doing that. Well, on the other side, I'm also a competitive person. So I found out about cooking contests, which actually even today, not a lot of people know exist. It's kind of an
Okay.
underground, which is also, I will admit, pretty geeky. But I did find out about them. And I started to just enter some contests and started to get some wins, which was nuts, or become an alternate or a runner up. And I thought, holy moly, I actually can cook. This is nuts. So having kind of some accolades behind you gave me a bunch of confidence to just keep going. So, fast forward, I guess this is now 20 years ago to today. I've now been on two shows. One was over a decade ago on Lifetime called Supermarket Superstar.
Okay.
I created a sauce that I wanted to get on supermarket shelves, which was the whole premise of the show. And the sauce was actually a meal starter sauce I called 101 sauce, which was you can literally make 101 meals with it. So even back then, over a decade ago, I was really trying to solve my friends' problems of what
Right.
do I make for dinner? What do I, and because that merry-go-round comes around every 24 hours, right?
Oh
Okay,
my God.
I
Nobody
did it
warns you when
tonight.
you're a kid.
No,
Like,
nobody warns you, and you have all those mouths and like screaming at you. So, even back then I was like, oh, how can I solve this problem? And and then lately, most recently, you can see me on my episode on Food Network's Outchef'd. It streams on multiple streaming services, Max, Hulu, Discovery, I think a couple other ones. So I had to go up against Rocco Dispirito, the chef Rocco Dispirito, as a home cook with a secret ingredient and come up with a meal in 45 minutes. So that's out right now.
that's
So I
all
do.
just fantastic. Oh my God.
But that's kind of my journey to where I started is like every person. Like that's kind of what I call. I'm an every person. I don't know what to cook. I can cook two things, tacos and spaghetti. Like,
Yeah.
how do I get to where I am today? So it was definitely small steps with one big light bulb moment.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. I mean, that can apply to everything in life. I think that in a personal growth standpoint, you don't just wake up one morning and you're an excellent whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think, as we get older, we are less comfortable trying new things that we're not
Mm,
instantly good at. And I love how you talk
totally.
about
Yep.
too, when it comes to that creativity, you brought out that sense of wonder, which people don't realize, is part of that
Yes.
mindfulness, not only being aware and present, but savoring and then having this sense of wonder and awe is hugely transformative when it comes to a coping strategy and all those kind of things. So the fact that you embraced it and not only just embraced it, but ran with it as far as like, not
Right.
only am I going to
Yeah.
take this wonder, but I am going to own it and I'm going to
Yeah.
crush it in competition is
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a really good point and something that even in my corporate job with colleagues, I always look for people who are curious.
Yeah.
You can teach people anything, but if someone's open and curious, that really does connote growth, a growth
Yeah.
mindset. And so kind of not being closed is curious.
Yeah, doing the awkward, uncomfortable thing is huge in developing that growth mindset as part of our
Hmm.
self-care, as part
Yep.
of being able to not only have the idea in our head, but to really achieve it and know that it's possible, even if you're failing over and over again, to still believe that it's possible and keep trying and not give up is
Right.
just so big. And especially with food, it's funny, you talked about just not being a great cook. Like I definitely for a long time went without cooking. And now in my house, we have this 3 strikes rule on any new meal because
Oh, that's a good one.
just because of this experience we had. I was
Yeah.
trying to make homemade gnocchi. I had even taken a cooking class on it. And at the class, it seemed fine and easy. And then I got home and it's like the first time was such a disaster, dissolved into like this disgusting milky
Paste,
potato
like a
soup.
paste.
Yeah. And so I was like, I didn't give up though. I tried it 2 more times. And by the third, I
Mhm.
got it. So now any new recipe, we get 3 tries, before we kind of either pitch it or keep it.
Right, right. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Right. Oh,
And
I
I
love
think
that. That's
just
a
going
great
into
rule.
that with that mindset and that grace takes so
Hmm.
much pressure off. It's a boundary of I'm going to try something new and I'm going to be okay with not being good at it.
That is such a great point because what I hear so often is how stressed people are about this. The
Mm-hmm.
pressure is real. Well, who's putting that pressure on? You're putting that pressure on yourself, and you
Yeah.
don't need to. That is absolutely something you can easily let go of. Because if you think learning anything is a step-by-step process, and you can even break those steps into mini steps,
Right.
just to get to where you want to be. You know, people always say to me, gosh, I wish I could cook like 5 times a week. I just don't know how to get there from my 1 time to 5 times a week. And it's usually dinners, right?
Yeah.
Breakfasts and lunches are pretty easy. So I kind of really focus on dinners with people. And I'm like, why do you need to go from 1 to 5? Why don't you go from 1 to 2?
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
from 1 to 2, add an extra night, plan it, get comfortable with 2. Then it becomes routine, right? I mean, I
Right.
don't know the study of how many times something becomes habit. Maybe it's 8. I can't remember that number.
20 something. I've heard like
Yeah,
all sorts of stuff.
right,
Yeah.
all over. But it's like then you become, I always say comfy. It's just
Hmm.
comfy. It's part of what you do. And then you're like, okay, well, let me add a third night. Let me do
Yeah.
something easy on that third night. And what am I comfortable with? So, people are like, oh yeah, okay, you're right. I don't have to go from 1 to 5,
Hmm.
so just take it in baby steps. Take the pressure off of you. No one's pressuring you to do this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the expectations, I think there's a couple expectations I've seen people come into cooking with, whether it has to be like a Julia Child's like
Right.
gourmet kind of meal,
Right.
or it's got to
Right.
be super nutritious, or that means you're not a good
Hmm.
parent if that's what you're going to serve to your family, or just that, if you're really a good cook, you can wing it. You do a pinch of this, a dash of that. But I think there's no
Yeah.
shame in like recipes. It's funny. My husband's an engineer,
None.
and I do
Yeah.
giggle a little bit because he times pasta as a Sicilian growing up. I mean, that's just one of those
You're like,
innate
just
things with me.
taste it.
Exactly. He's like,
Yeah.
I got 7 minutes on the timer. I'm like, okay, buddy. But you know what? That's his comfort zone, and that allows him to cook and to
Right.
make it.
That's his way. Yeah. His way it may not be yours and
Yeah.
vice versa. And that's okay. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. And so when people come to you and you're working with them, obviously you've got a lot of fears and mindset and things to go through with
Mm.
them to even get them
Hmm.
cooking. What are some of the strategies that you use to help them overcome some of those fears?
Yep. Well, you honed in on the very first thing that I always talk to people about, and that is that mindset absolutely matters.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to get over that hump of, I'm not a good cook. I don't have time. I don't know. I don't have the skills. You just have to get over that because the whole reason why you're even thinking about it is because you want to get better. You want to get faster. You want to do something more nutritious for your family. So you've already gotten through that one step. Okay, be open, be
Mm-hmm.
curious. Mindset matters for that. It's follow Nike, right? Just
Yeah.
do it. Just do it. Just keep going, moving forward. You've accomplished, I mean, everyone's accomplished so much in their life, whether it's career wise, family wise, friends wise, spirituality. There's things that you can point to in your past that you've accomplished. It could be super small, it could be super big,
Right.
but hold on to those past accomplishments because I'm here to say you can do this. Anyone can do this. So, sometimes you need to go like, okay, you have to remind yourself and take like a beat, take 3 breaths. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Right.
It's hard when I just remember this hard when you've got toddlers crying at your leg,
Mm-hmm.
to,
Yep.
to get something on, but you will get over that too. So, that's mindset. And then the other thing I always tell people is, time is relative. So when people always say, "Oh, I don't have time," I say, "Okay, well, how much time do you spend on social media? How much time are you
Yeah.
watching Netflix? How much time, whatever." I mean, you don't have to give up that time, but just realize that is kind of dead time a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I tell you a recipe takes 8 minutes to prep and 20 minutes to cook on cooking time, that you're not even paying attention to it. And you think, oh, then it's not over for 30 minutes. It's like, well, yeah, but you'll go to a concert of your favorite artist and spend 3 hours.
Right.
and versus a 1 minute plank on the floor, what's longer, the plank?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a mindset thing, right? That's a mindset thing. And so, honestly, like chopping and prep work, if you're chopping an onion or other veggies, I mean, it really just can take less than 5 minutes. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. And invest in cheap tools like choppers. If you're
Yeah.
not comfortable with knife skills, don't worry about it. Like there's no cheating in cooking.
Right.
It's really getting it on the plate. And so those choppers are awesome. My favorite tools are a garlic press, because I put garlic in everything I make, just about, and kitchen scissors. So
Oh,
people
yep.
don't really remember kitchen scissors as kind of a cooking tool. I mean, I chop chicken,
Yeah, I have
herbs.
too.
Like, don't just use them as scissors on packages. You can use them, on food, hence the name kitchen shears. So, think about, just be open to kind of creative ways to get faster at that.
Yeah. And definitely, I think with the time piece of it too, we make it hard for ourselves, I think, when we look at it during the week. Like you want to cook a meal during the week and you think, all right, well, I'm
Right.
coming home from work. So and so's got baseball. I got to drop them off. I got to do this. I got to do that. And by planning ahead, you can
Yes.
pre-prep, and there's obviously meal services that do this too, but you can pre-prep a lot of that part. I chop and freeze my onions a lot of times, so that if
Yeah.
I need onions or something like that, I just grab it from the freezer. It's already pre-chopped, my
Yeah.
peppers, and that's ready to go. And so I'm just throwing things in a pan, almost kind of like,
Yep.
those cooking shows like Rachel Ray. She's got everything in the cute little clear dishes ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But if you spend
you
a little
can,
time on the
yes,
weekend, you can do that during the week.
that's my second point, is that
Yeah.
planning equates to way less stress. And when people hear the word planning, they're like, well, I don't have 3 hours on a Sunday. Like Sunday's my day, or Saturday, or, whatever. And it's like, I just tell people, take 10 minutes to plan 5 meals. And what does that mean? That means literally writing down, Monday, I'm going to make tacos. Oh, Tuesday's baseball. We're going to be late. So we're either going to have leftovers or I'm going to do something out. That's planning. That's planning a meal. Wednesday, you have a really light work day. So maybe you can do a 30 to 40-minute meal, but you're just writing down what you want to make and what you're planning to make. And then that has your grocery list. And honestly, you don't have to shop every day. You should be able, if you do this 10-minute planning, you should be able to just grocery shop for the week and be fine, for those meals. So,
and I love that you said eating out is planning. It doesn't always have to be cooking as part of the planning. Having a
No.
cheat day, a breakfast for dinner day is still planning.
Absolutely. Because really, the bottom line is you're fueling yourself and your family. So what is my fuel plan?
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. And it should not take more than 10 minutes. If it is, then you're thinking too hard on it.
Right. So
if you want to spend time on new recipes, sorry, I just cut you off.
No.
Like there could be more, like if you started to really get into it, kind of like I did, like, oh, I want to find a new recipe for, this chicken dish, or, whatever. I want to do something different. That's doing some discovery and you're kind of into it. So that's not really what I consider planning as much as looking to expand your repertoire.
Right. Yeah. So we're starting with our mindset, letting go of expectations. We're moving on to our time planning and kind of rethinking how much time we actually need and how much time we have. What else?
So I have like 2 things that I really love for getting over, well, maybe 3 things for getting over that stress. And I'm giving you permission to let it go. The one thing that I hear a lot is, oh, this recipe has so many ingredients, or, oh, I wanted to make this chicken dish, but I forgot one ingredient. Don't worry about it. Like, don't sweat it. So what that you don't have dried thyme? Don't put it in. It doesn't matter. I mean, unless you're making like French onion soup and you forgot onions. Okay, that's a problem. But like, there are so many substitutions you can make for ingredients if you don't have them on hand. So don't let that be your blocker. I'm taking that obstacle away. So that's one. Just forget about it. Don't sweat it. And then there's kind of two different things I really like to do is the cook once, eat twice. This doesn't mean leftovers. It can mean leftovers, and you can refresh leftovers, revive them into something different once you kind of are comfortable in the kitchen. But this kind of, the way I look at it, it's kind of meal prep in a way. I really, really like to do 2 main proteins and 1 vegetable over the weekend, and it take less than an hour. So like I might do a protein in the pressure cooker or a slow cooker. It might do something in the oven. I might just prep some veg and cook it and then have it for dinner, one dinner that night on a Sunday, and then maybe another dinner on Tuesday. So it is great to have your proteins. And how I also like to revive those or kind of make them into something new is think about a vessel. I don't know a better word for this. I just kind of think of vessel. And especially for families, like look at a tortilla, right? You can make a quesadilla out of it, a taco, you can make a roll up, a wrap, you can do a ton of things that you can kind of make something new out of a previous dish. Right. Pastas are excellent for that. You can do anything with a pasta, put anything and make that a new dish. Sandwiches, casseroles. So any kind of leftovers that you have, protein and veg, you can really kind of repurpose and make another meal. Yeah. So there's that. And then also I love sheet pan meals and foil packets. I love them for 2 reasons. First, the cleanup, 3 reasons. The cleanup is so easy because it's just like one thing. And 2, easy to cook. You really can't mess them up. But 3, the foil packets are really fun when the boys and my husband were little. When the boys were little and my husband was along. So
they're all little kids.
Right. But we would design our own, my oldest son doesn't like asparagus, so he just wouldn't put asparagus in his foil packet. And, they got to experiment with spices, and I would kind of get stuff out. And it was just such a great thing. It's really hard to mess up because steaming in the oven in a wrapped up foil packet is so easy.
Yeah. And I think just the freedom it gives, as far as not everyone has the same taste. And I know I've talked to some women and they feel like, okay, I've got to make one meal for my kids because they're picky and they eat X, Y, and Z, and then another meal for us. And that feels extra taxing too. But to have a couple staples that everyone agrees on and then have that flexibility to sub in and out, it's got to be great as well.
Yes, it is. People always ask me why my kids have such great palates. And I think the answer is that I got them involved in cooking early. So really, chopping with the safety knives and tasting herbs. Like I remember my one son, Jackson, just grabbing, he was 3, he was just grabbing a piece of cilantro and eating it raw. And I was like, ooh, buddy, are you sure? But I'm thinking that, I'm not showing that, because keep in mind, while you're doing this, you're also role modeling to your family. Yes. Right? You're role modeling nutrition, you're role modeling trying new things and getting their input and feedback at the time. So
yeah. And I love that we're talking about repurposing versus leftovers, because I think people get this idea in their head about leftovers, like congealed, stale, kind of worn out, where repurposing is a great way to you're re-energizing, you're kind of
it's a new dish.
Yeah.
Look, I am the first to admit I hate leftovers. I don't really like them. And especially I'll bring something home. If we go out to a restaurant, it's too big of a portion. I'll bring it home and I'm like, oh, do I really want that again? So I do really like making kind of what I would call a plainer dinner. So let's say a baked chicken or, shredded chicken, dish of some sort, and then refreshing it into something new, 2 days later. So one story I do have to tell is my mother-in-law, both my in-laws were born and raised in outside of Nashville, but they ended up moving to California, which is where I met my husband. And one time I was over their house, we were dating really early on, and she was like, oh, I don't have anything. I didn't really buy anything to make dinner tonight. Maybe we can just, have musco. And I was like, musco? What is that, like a Cajun dish? Whatever. Yeah. It's everything in the fridge that must go.
Oh,
And so
I love
I
that.
love that term. And what she ended up making was a soup. And I
Hmm.
think that soups are so underrated. They're delicious, they're nutritious. You can do some bread on the side, whatever. I think they're great and they're perfect for vegetables that may have a day left, in the
Yeah.
fridge. Add a little protein, some beans, like whatever. So don't forget the soups and to make must go.
Oh, I love that term. I call it mother hubbarding at my house, like old
Oh,
mother
mother
hubbard.
hubbarding, that's cute.
Like you make the cupboards
Yeah,
bare. But I
yeah,
love this Musco as well. I'll probably steal that and borrow it as well.
it's yours.
And I think too, looking at where we are today in society, like you said, we have a lot of great tools, whether it's choppers,
Hmm.
instant pots, slow cookers,
Hmm.
air fryers, as well as from a sensitivity standpoint, there's
Yeah,
milk alternatives, gluten alternatives, so many different things that now, I
yep,
think it's really expanded everyone's ability to join into food and cooking again.
absolutely. I got diagnosed with a inflammatory disease about over a decade ago. So I became gluten-free.
Okay.
So it kind of rocked my world, as you can imagine, this foodie who's entering all these contests, breads and pastas and cooking with flour. And so it rocked my world for about 2 days. And
Yeah.
I thought, okay, let me turn this into something challenging and creative. Now I need to just figure out how I can cook for me and my
Hmm.
family gluten free. So let me take my beef bourguignon that I start with. I have flour in the sauce, and I'm going to figure out what alternatives I can use instead of flour. And
Right.
so, I did. And today there's just so many non-dairy,
Yeah.
non-gluten, vegan options even on the market, that it's actually so much easier today.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of a weird question. On the cooking shows, then, if you have like a
Mhm.
sensitivity or allergy, are you allowed to cook to your sensitivity? Because how are you supposed to like test as you're going along making a dish if it's something you're allergic to?
So for Food Network, my secret ingredient was halibut. This isn't this
Okay.
isn't
Yeah.
a this isn't a surprise. I mean, it was to me on the show. I had no idea what they were going to unveil. And so I cooked a completely gluten-free dish.
Okay.
Like, no, I don't make a big deal of it. That's what I do. If I need to use soy sauce, I either use coconut aminos or I use tamari, which are both
Okay.
gluten free. And I find every possible alternative.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I love
yeah.
that. Just curious, because like I said, they're always tasting and sampling as they're cooking. But
Right.
like, what if they tell you you're on the bake off and you got to make some bread and you're like,
Then
I
I
hate it.
then I don't taste it. So
Yeah.
like for instance, there's a pizza contest coming up that I'm applying to. I have to do a real crust.
Okay.
So my tasters become my friends and my husband.
Okay.
I just had a girlfriend and her daughter over. I'm like, hey, can you taste this? I think everything else is good. And I'll
Mhm.
sometimes make it on a gluten-free, whatever it is, a gluten-free bun or, whatever I have to submit. But I really need good tasters, and that's how I do it for those.
Gotcha. Oh, I love that. So just a quick, like what's your favorite weeknight hack when it comes to cooking and food and all that kind of stuff?
I would say, I'm going back to the vessel piece. You can make a taco out of everything, out of
Yeah.
anything.
Hmm.
So I love carrying corn tortillas. I mean, if you're not gluten sensitive, flour is
Hmm.
fine. But gosh, I just love doing a taco.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's favorite. They love it too. It's handheld. You can make cool sauces on the side. That is my one best refreshed do-over meal.
I
Do
love
again
that.
meal.
And I definitely would like to thank the Food Network for the term deconstructed, because everything I make that falls apart, I intentionally call it it's a deconstructed. Blah.
That's great. I intended this deconstructed dish.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's
No, well,
awesome.
where can people find you, Jen? I know your business
Oh, yeah.
is cooking. You've got this, right? Or cooking.
Cookingigotthis.com. So
Okay.
what I am trying to do at night, because in the day I'm a technology project manager. I would love to create a program. I have a concept in my mind. My kids think it's awesome, a completely unique training program that doesn't exist today, that meets people where they are.
Mhm.
And they can learn at their own pace and in a really different way. So right now on cookingiGotThis.com, I have a survey for you to fill out. It's just 5 minutes or less. I'm just trying to understand people's motivation, their obstacles, the kinds of learning that they like. And then for that, I'm creating a free guide, a free tips guide. Some of these that I've said are on there that you'll get for free. And I'll email you if you complete the survey. So you can find that on cookingiGotThis.com. And then also my link for that is on my Instagram at Jen is whisking it all.
Awesome. And both of those links will be live in the show notes below. Thank you so much, Jen. I love this conversation. I love
Me too.
all the ideas.
Thanks, Daniela.
And can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know any questions or comments that you have. Also, if you can please leave an Apple 5-star review so that this episode can be shared with more women. There's 2 quotes that I love. Alone we may be strong, but together we are stronger, as well as when women support each other, incredible things happen. So let's be stronger and incredible together, as well as maybe just have some fun along the way. Thanks so much and talk to you soon. Bye.